explain. Let me read and explain to you Shedeur Sanders' contract. And then you wonder why every single team in the NFL doesn't want anything to do with Shedeur. Now, if Shedeur wanted to just be a guy that sells jerseys and merchandise and not really worry about football, hey, he's the guy for you. Let's jump into the article and I'll comment from there. And don't hit me with, you don't want to see a young brother make money and all that garbage. Just give me a break. Shedeur is being heavily compensated just for playing football alone.
Shedeur Sanders is going to be one of the richest quarterbacks ever. Prime $14 million in commission from $250 million earned from his jersey sale. A lot of y'all said a brand, the NFL has to cut him a piece in order to access that. So y'all thought they were just trying to teach him a lesson because of his ego. It was because he was a brilliant business mind.
Prime is not blameless, is that he did initially state he wanted some say in terms of where his son was going to go. That if he didn't like the situation his son was in, he was going to pull him up out of there. Stuff like that. On the NFL level, can't do that. And even though it has nothing to do with what I'm about to bring up.
And it certainly turned some heads on Friday. What does Shedeur prove to you?
That he deserved more looks, that he deserves the consideration that some of us thought he deserved coming into the draft. I mean, 5 or 7 passes for 10 or more air yards for 93 yards on both his touchdown passes as well. Give the guy a lot of credit where credit is due. He's playing against second and third stringers. We get all of that because the Browns didn't play their starters. The Carolina Panthers are the Carolina Panthers. They're one of the worst teams in football. And so we're not going to go beside ourselves about what he did against them because you have to take the opposition into consideration. But as somebody who is a Shedeur Sanders fan who believed that he got screwed over during draft day or draft night rather, being a 144th pick, 5th round pick, to see him go out there and make some of those requisite throws and show flashes of the kind of potential that he has, I definitely think it was a good. They don't want to have a quarterback coming in and they got to worry about his dad making noise about what they're doing, how they're doing it, how effective they are or are not.
Right.
All of those things come into play, and then ultimately, you're an executive and you've got chosen a coach, but the audience is clamoring for dad to come coach his son and all of this other stuff. All of those things are things that an executive or an ownership group is going to be worried about because they're about having control over.
What if I told you that a 21-year-old rookie just walked into the most powerful sports league on earth and completely flipped the script on how contracts work? Not with more money, with something far more dangerous to the NFL's control, ownership. Shedeur Sanders didn't just sign a contract, he signed a declaration of independence that has NFL executives quietly panicking in boardrooms across the country. This isn't about a bigger signing bonus or flashy endorsements. This is about a seismic shift in power that could change professional sports forever. And the craziest part? He did it before playing a single regular season game. If you want to see how one player just rewrote the rules of the game, stick around because what you're about to learn will blow your mind. Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the stories that reshaped sports as we know it. I'm your host, and today we're breaking down the most revolutionary contract move in NFL history. While everyone's talking about record-breaking deals and massive bonuses, Shedeur Sanders just pulled off something that makes those numbers look like pocket change. He didn't just negotiate better terms, he fundamentally changed what it means to be an NFL player in the modern era. We're going to explore exactly how he did it, why the NFL is terrified, and what this means for every future athlete watching this unfold. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why this moment might be remembered as the day the NFL lost control of its own players. Here's where things get absolutely wild, and I need you to understand just how unprecedented this is. The prime equity clause isn't just a fancy legal term buried in contract paperwork, it's a nuclear bomb dropped on decades of NFL tradition. Let me paint you a picture of how contracts typically work in the NFL, because once you understand the old system, you'll realize why Shedeur's move is so revolutionary. For generations, rookie contracts have been rigid, militaristic structures. You get your salary, your bonuses, maybe some performance incentives, And that's it. The NFL owns your image. They decide how you're marketed. They control your narrative. When your jersey sells, when your highlights go viral, when sponsors use your face to sell products, all that revenue flows directly to the league and the teams. The player? They get their predetermined salary and a pat on the head. But Shedeur Sanders looked at this system and said, absolutely not. His prime equity clause gives him an actual percentage, a real, tangible cut, of every single dollar generated by his name, image, and likeness. We're talking merchandise sales, sponsorship deals, broadcast revenue, appearances, collaborations, content licensing, everything. If the NFL makes money off Shedeur Sanders makes money right back. Think about the implications here. This isn't just about fairness, it's about fundamentally restructuring the power dynamic between player and league. Traditionally, players have been assets that the NFL uses to generate revenue. They're valuable, sure, but they're still just pieces on the board. Shedeur's clause transforms him from an asset into a partner. The NFL doesn't just employ him, they owe him. And the numbers are already staggering. His rookie contract is valued at $4.6 million, which sounds impressive until you realize he's already generated $14 million through brand deals and personal media ventures tied directly to his likeness. That's $14 million before his first regular season start. His jersey sales alone have generated over $250 million in revenue, and with the prime equity clause in place, that's not just a headline, it's Shedeur's income stream. But here's what's really got the NFL executives losing sleep at night. This isn't sustainable for them if it spreads. Their entire business model is built on controlling player branding and keeping the revenue centralized. They've spent decades perfecting a system where the shield comes first, where the league shapes the narrative, and where players perform within carefully managed parameters. Shedeur just proved that system is optional. He walked into negotiations not as a supplicant hoping for a chance, but as a business owner looking for a partnership. And the most terrifying part for the NFL? It worked. The clause was approved. The precedent is set. And now every other rookie, every agent, every veteran star who's spent years building their brand under the NFL's shadow is asking the same question. If Shedeur can get that, why can't I? That question is keeping NFL executives awake at night, because they know the answer exposes everything wrong with their current system. Now, let me tell you why Shedeur Sanders isn't just another talented rookie with good negotiation skills. He's a media mogul who happens to play football. And that distinction is absolutely crucial to understanding why his contract demands weren't just accepted, but embraced. See, most rookies walk into the NFL hoping to build a brand. Shedeur walked in with an empire already established. While other college prospects were posting generic workout videos and humble bragging about grinding in silence, Shedeur was documenting everything with the precision of a seasoned content creator. His YouTube channel doesn't just show highlights, it tells stories. His Instagram isn't just photos, it's a carefully curated brand experience. His behind-the-scenes content looks better than half the NFL's official productions, and here's the kicker, it feels more authentic too. This isn't accidental. Shedeur understood something that's taken most athletes decades to figure out. In today's world, influence equals leverage. You can have a Hall of Fame career and still get fewer clicks than a guy filming a Q&A from his hotel room. The difference is connection, authenticity, and control over your own narrative. His content strategy is brilliant in its simplicity. He doesn't need a PR team to clean up his image because there's nothing to clean. He's the one telling his story, in real time, to millions of fans across platforms the NFL can't touch. His vlogs pull in more young viewers than most team YouTube channels. When he speaks, people listen, not because a brand told them to, but because he's earned that trust directly from his audience. And this is where the NFL's traditional model completely breaks down. They've spent decades building a system that keeps players in check through image control and rigid structure. But Shedeur comes from a different school entirely. He comes from a place where personality isn't a liability, it's currency. Where authenticity isn't managed, it's lived. Where fans don't just watch you play, they follow your journey. The numbers prove it. Shedeur Sanders is more influential on social media right now than entire NFL franchises. His engagement rates are through the roof. His personal brand generates more buzz than most team marketing campaigns. And when he drops content, it doesn't just get views, it shapes conversations. But here's what makes this truly revolutionary. It's not just about Shedeur. This is a family-run media empire built from the ground up. His brother plays a key role in content creation and strategy. They have their own editors, their own business structure, their own distribution network. They don't need the league to tell their story because they're already telling it better than the league ever could. This level of media sophistication from a rookie is unprecedented. Most players spend years trying to build what Shedeur already had before he was drafted. And that's exactly why his contract demands weren't just reasonable, they were inevitable. When you control the medium, you control the message. When you control the message, you control the value. And when you control the value, you get to dictate the terms. The NFL realized they weren't just signing a quarterback, they were partnering with a media company that happened to have a really good arm. Here's where this story gets really interesting, and why NFL executives are probably updating their resumes right about now. Because the moment Shedeur's contract details leaked, everything changed. Not just for him, not just for his team, but for the entire landscape of professional sports. We're witnessing the first domino fall in what could be the complete restructuring of athlete-league relationships. Think about it from the perspective of every other player in the league. Veterans who have spent years building their personal brands under the NFL's restrictive system are suddenly asking their agents, "Why didn't I get a clause like that?" College stars who are preparing for the draft are revisiting their entire negotiation strategy. Agents are printing out Shedeur's contract and highlighting the prime equity clause in neon yellow, using it as the new gold standard for what's possible. And this isn't just wishful thinking, it's already happening. Sources close to several top college prospects report that nil ownership and media control have become non-negotiable demands in their upcoming contract discussions. The next wave of rookies isn't just asking for better salaries, they're asking for partnership terms. They want content rights. They want brand independence. They want what Shedeur got. But here's what's really got the NFL in panic mode. This didn't come from some union uprising or years of collective bargaining. This happened because one rookie knew his worth and refused to play by the old rules. There was no strike, no holdout, no legal battle. Shedeur simply presented a different model, and the league said yes. That precedent is now set in stone, and you can't unring that bell. The ripple effects are already visible across other sports. NBA agents are studying Shedeur's contract structure. Soccer players in Europe are asking why American football rookies have more autonomy than established international stars. The entire sports industry is watching this experiment, and if it succeeds, which it already is, everyone's going to want their own version of the prime equity clause. What's particularly terrifying for the NFL is the speed at which this is spreading. In the old days, revolutionary changes took years to implement. Players had to fight through union negotiations, legal challenges, and bureaucratic red tape. But in the age of social media and instant communication, influence moves at the speed of light. One viral contract clause can reshape an entire industry overnight. The league's carefully constructed ecosystem, where power flows from the top down, is facing its first real challenge from within. And the challenger isn't some veteran superstar with decades of leverage, it's a rookie who understood the game better than the people running it. NFL executives are now facing questions they never thought they'd have to answer. What happens when players become more influential than the league? What happens when the talent realizes they don't need permission to be successful? What happens when the next generation of athletes refuses to sign away their autonomy just because that's how it's always been done? The answers to these questions will determine whether the NFL adapts to the new reality or gets left behind by it. And based on Shedeur's success, the future is already being written. Let's talk about what Shedeur Sanders has really accomplished here, because it goes far beyond one clever contract clause. He's created a blueprint for athlete empowerment that completely redefines what it means to be a professional sports star in the 21st century. And the most beautiful part? He's proving that players don't have to choose between athletic success and business autonomy. They can have both. For decades, the narrative has been simple: shut up, play ball, and be grateful for the opportunity. Athletes were expected to be grateful for whatever scraps the league threw their way. Sure, superstars could negotiate better deals, but even they had to operate within the system's constraints. The league controlled the narrative, the branding, and the revenue streams. Players were valuable assets, but they were still just assets. Shedeur looked at this system and said, what if we flipped it entirely? Instead of being an asset the NFL uses to generate revenue, he became his own economic engine. Instead of hoping the league would market him properly, he built his own marketing machine. Instead of waiting for permission to tell his story, he started telling it himself, and millions of people started listening. This model mirrors what we've seen from global superstars in other industries. Think of LeBron James, who owns production companies and media brands, controlling his narrative with surgical precision. Think of Cristiano Ronaldo, who generates more revenue through his personal social platforms than some entire clubs make in a season. Shedeur's deal plants that same seed in the NFL, and it's growing faster than anyone expected. But here's what makes this truly revolutionary. Shedeur isn't just building a brand, he's building infrastructure. He has his own media team, his own editors, his own distribution network, his own business structure. He's not dependent on the NFL's marketing machine because he's built a better one. When fans want to connect with Shedeur Sanders, they don't go through NFL.com, they go directly to his platforms. This level of independence is unprecedented for a rookie, and it's changing how we think about athlete careers entirely. Traditionally, football careers are short and unpredictable. Players have maybe a decade to maximize their earning potential before their bodies give out. But Shedeur isn't just building a football career, he's building a media empire that will outlast his playing days by decades. The genius of his approach is that it's completely scalable and replicable. Other athletes are already studying his model, adapting it to their own sports and personalities. The infrastructure he's built, the content creation, the direct fan engagement, the brand partnerships, can be copied and customized by any athlete with the vision to see beyond traditional career paths. And that's exactly what's happening. College athletes are already implementing Shedeur-inspired strategies. Professional players in other sports are demanding similar contract terms. The blueprint is spreading because it works, and it works because it's built on a simple truth. In the modern economy, authenticity and direct connection are more valuable than traditional gatekeepers. Shedeur Sanders didn't just negotiate a better contract, he created a new category of professional athlete entirely. And now everyone else is racing to catch up. So here we are, watching history unfold in real time. Shedeur Sanders didn't just sign a contract, he signed a declaration of independence that's reshaping professional sports as we know it. The prime equity clause isn't just about money, it's about power, autonomy, and the fundamental right of athletes to control their own destinies. The NFL can either adapt to this new reality or risk becoming irrelevant to the next generation of superstars. Because whether they like it or not, the game has changed. Players like Shedeur aren't asking for permission anymore, they're setting the terms. And the fans? They're absolutely here for it. This is just the beginning. The next few years are going to be wild as more athletes realize they don't have to choose between playing professional sports and owning their own brands. They can do both, and Shedeur Sanders just showed them exactly how. What do you think? Are you Team Shedeur, supporting this revolution in athlete empowerment? Or do you think the NFL should maintain more control over player branding? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and love hearing your perspectives on these game-changing moments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into how one rookie is reshaping professional sports, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. In the next video, we're breaking down how this contract model might spread to other sports, and trust me, you won't want to miss that analysis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one where we continue following this revolution as it unfolds.